PlayStation 3. The PlayStation 3's scandal wasn't just about its disastrous launch, it was about Sony's attitude during an era when they believed they were too big to fail. The most talked about scandal was the notorious price, and Sony's unapologetic messaging around it. The company proudly announced a price tag that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. Gamers were stunned. Critics were vocal, but Sony executives insisted that the system's advanced technology justified the cost, even suggesting consumers should get a second job if they wanted it. This comment ignited one of the largest public relations fires in gaming history. Players who adored the PlayStation 2 felt insulted. The industry mocked Sony's arrogance, and the scandal rapidly spread from gaming forums into mainstream news beyond pricing. The PS3 also faced a scandal involving its removal of backward compatibility in early models. Legal issues over the console's online security also contributed to the storm. When the PlayStation Network suffered a massive hack, millions of accounts were compromised and the network went offline for weeks. It became one of the largest data breaches in entertainment history. The scandal damaged Sony's reputation further, showing how vulnerable the brand had become. The PS3 eventually recovered thanks to strong games and a friendlier approach in later years, but its scandals left a permanent mark on the industry: Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch is one of the most successful consoles ever made, but its early years were overshadowed by a scandal that refused to fade: Joy-Con drift. Instead of responding quickly, Nintendo initially dismissed the issue as isolated incidents. But over time, thousands of players began reporting that their analog sticks moved on their own, causing characters to drift across screens without input. What started as a minor annoyance became a global outcry, with angry buyers demanding answers. The scandal worsened as studies revealed that the Joy-Con sticks were inherently prone to failure due to thin components and dust intrusion. Lawsuits began appearing around the world, accusing Nintendo of knowingly selling defective hardware. Media outlets picked up the story, creating worldwide pressure that forced Nintendo into action. The company eventually offered free repairs, but only after years of backlash. Another Switch scandal involved scarce launch availability, with accusations that Nintendo intentionally limited supply to build hype. Whether true or not, the perception grew, and the Switch's reputation during its first year was defined by confusion, frustration, and inflated resale prices. Despite all these issues, the Switch thrived due to powerful software, but its scandals remain a major part of its legacy. Xbox 360. Few scandals in gaming history compared to the Xbox 360's infamous Red Ring of Death. For nearly 2 years, consoles began failing at alarming rates due to hardware instability caused by manufacturing shortcuts, heat issues, and rushed production. Rather than acknowledging the seriousness immediately, Microsoft downplayed the failure rate, insisting that the issue affected only a small percentage of users, but the truth was far worse. Millions of consoles were dying, customer service lines were overwhelmed, repair times were painfully slow. The scandal grew until it became impossible to ignore, forcing Microsoft into one of the most expensive corporate apologies in history. The company admitted the failure, apologized publicly, and set aside over $1 billion to repair or replace consoles worldwide. This scandal reshaped the console's identity. Despite great games, the RROD overshadowed the system's early years and created a widespread perception that Xbox hardware was unreliable. To Microsoft's credit, the company took full responsibility, but the scandal remains one of the defining moments of gaming's modern era, changing how consoles are tested, manufactured, and supported. PlayStation Vita. The PlayStation Vita's scandal was rooted in misleading marketing and broken promises. When the handheld was revealed, Sony promoted it as a powerful portable capable of console-quality graphics and revolutionary features. But the biggest scandal came from its expensive proprietary memory cards. Sony claimed they were necessary for stability, but the real motive became clear. Profit gamers were furious when they realized the system could not operate properly without these overpriced cards. Basic tasks like saving data, installing games, or downloading apps were locked behind expensive accessories. Another major controversy surfaced when early Vita advertisements misleadingly promoted remote play and cross-platform features that did not work as smoothly as promised. Regulatory bodies accused Sony of false advertising, leading to fines and public apologies. The Vita remains a beloved system among enthusiasts, but its scandals ensured that mainstream success slipped out of reach. Sega Dreamcast. The Dreamcast is remembered fondly today, but its short life was clouded by scandals that contributed to Sega's downfall as a hardware manufacturer. One of the biggest scandals surrounded the console's online services. Sega promoted Dreamcast as the first online-ready console with revolutionary multiplayer capabilities. But behind the scenes, the network infrastructure was unstable, inconsistent, and underfunded. Players frequently dealt with connection issues and unreliable servers. Another scandal erupted over Sega's misleading claims about the system's power. Marketing materials boasted superior performance over upcoming competitors, but technical experts quickly debunked these claims once PlayStation 2 details emerged. Sega was accused of exaggeration, creating distrust among consumers. Atari 2600. The Atari 2600 was massively successful, but its most infamous scandal involved the destruction of trust in the video game industry. As third-party developers flooded the market with poorly made games, Atari contributed to the chaos by approving titles without quality control. The scandal reached its peak with the release of the infamous E.T. game, rushed through development in just weeks. Stores were swamped with unsold, low-quality games, consumer confidence plummeted. The scandal became so severe that it triggered the North American video game crash of 1983. The Atari 2600 scandal reshaped the industry, giving rise to stricter licensing and quality standards that exist to this day. Philips CDI. The Philips CDI scandal revolves around licensing deals that spun out of control. Philips obtained the rights to produce games based on famous Nintendo characters during a failed hardware partnership agreement. The result was a set of games so poorly made that they became legendary for all the wrong reasons. The Mario and Zelda CDI titles were widely mocked, damaging both brands and embarrassing everyone involved. Philips marketed it as an all-purpose multimedia tool, but the software library was filled with expensive, low-quality titles. The system's price was extremely high, and consumers felt misled about what they were getting. Critics accused Philips of being intentionally vague about the console's purpose, creating confusion and anger that never faded. The Ouya scandal began with enormous hype and ended in disappointment. After becoming one of the most successful Kickstarter campaigns ever, Ouya promised to revolutionize gaming with a small, open-source console that anyone could develop for. But when the console launched, backers felt betrayed. The hardware felt cheap, the controller was flawed, and the software was underdeveloped. Developers were equally frustrated. Many claimed they were misled about sales potential and technical capabilities, or failing to pay bonuses promised through special incentive programs. Consumers felt the console was rushed and unfinished, leading to widespread accusations that Ouya had wasted millions in crowdfunding. The scandal destroyed Ouya's reputation and stands today as a warning about overhyped crowdfunded hardware.